I love Tekken. I've been a big fan of the series, and one of the reasons why I like it is because of the story. The melodramatic, kitchen sink, soap opera style family drama. But it's not great. In fact, recently I've been seeing many problems with it, and now knowing there's a lot of wasted potential within the plot. Even the fans have noticed this, so I decided to make this video and show you that the story of the King of Iron Fist tournament isn't good, but it could be better. Stories in fighting games isn't the best. They hardly ever keep to the rules of Aristotle's Poetics, the basic structure of storytelling, and the plot's mostly made up there and then without any thought on what happens next in the sequel. It ain't no Oscar-winning screenplay, I'll tell you that. As much as I like the story of Tekken, I also found some of its plot strands and character stories very pointless in recent years. There'll be major spoilers, so if you're interested in the story of these characters, you've been warned. So yeah, be careful, there's going to be spoilers now from the video, so yeah, warning. So with that, let's go. Yoshimitsu and Brian, who are constant enemies, haven't changed in years. The rivalry between Paul and Kazuya is now a distant memory, as if it never existed. But there's more, and I have to mention the meat and potatoes of the Tekken story, the Mishimas. Kazuya Mishima was abused by his father Heihachi Mishima and was thrown off a cliff. On death's door, he made a deal with the devil, and to gain power and overcome his father. Kazuya basically died that day and was reborn as a bad dude. No longer innocent, he became a cold-blooded fighter, and after competing in the first Iron Fist tournament, beaten his father Heihachi and became an evil businessman. The big twist in the second game is Heihachi coming back for his revenge, and Kazuya is now possessed by the devil. It's like they just switched it, and now Kazuya is the bad guy and Heihachi's not the protagonist. It was really cool. However, Kazuya met Jun Kasama, an innocent psychic maiden with spiritual powers and martial arts who would eventually capture Kazuya's heart, and they fall in love. It's not really stated much about their relationship. It's very mysterious. All we know is that they did fall in love and they did have a child. And it's not really stated how the fight went with Heihachi and his son Kazuya. But we can assume, thanks to Jun Kasama's powers, she exorcised the devil within Kazuya, making him lose his demonic power and thus losing to his father. A couple of years later, Jun is now with a child named Jin Kasama, and the devil comes back wanting to possess the child. Jin Kasama became the poster boy of Tekken, and the true main character of the series. With demons, angels, Aztec alien gods mixed with family drama, the series was a blast, and each game kept me wondering what would happen next. And then it kinda went downhill. You see, I don't know when the story of Tekken started to go down, but I think it was in Tekken 5 to Tekken 6, between then. And then again, the first retcon within our story was in the 4th game. You see, Kazuya is a popular character, and many fans didn't like that he was no longer in the game. He was killed off. After his death, according to the making of notes, his son Jin Kasama would be this badass rebel boy with a skull tattoo and replace Kazuya. According to Tekken producer Harada, Jin Kasama was always going to be an anti-hero, a morally grey character. So when fans demanded Kazuya come back, the then original producer of Tekken, Nakatani, gave in and added him into the game, making a big deal with him in the story. However, as mentioned, there would be a retcon. Kazuya didn't just sell his soul to the devil, he actually had the devil gene, a mutational condition to turn himself into a powerful demon, like something out of the X-Men comics. He passed this gene onto his son, Jin, So Granddaddy Heihachi failed to capture the ogre in Tekken 3 and experiment on its blood. In Tekken 4, Heihachi wants Kazuya's dead body to have the devil gene so he can experiment on it to gain its power. But Kazuya is actually alive and basically says he can get it over his dead body. So he wants to capture Jin and use his blood to possess the devil gene. This was canonically the first retcon of the series, and there was no mention of the devil gene before. We had speculation that the devil could have been genetic thanks to Jin, but I always thought the devil marked Jin with that vital lightning tattoo. This showed me that he was marked for possession, branded if you will. It was spiritual, not genetic. But this changed the story and in some ways made it better. So the climax of the game's main story comes as we have a family reunion beatdown in a dojo. Head straight into Tekken 5 seconds later and more dramatic stuff happens. The shock now is that Heihachi has been killed. Now there was a lot of fan backlash to Heihachi no longer being in the game series. The old man only appeared near the end of its arcade run. Another twist being that Jinpachi Mishima, the great granddaddy Mishima, had escaped from his underground prison. For some reason, Heihachi literally forgot about him. Like Jinpachi, who has been missing for decades, comes out of a ruined building. I don't even know how he ran a tournament and kept his secret identity. It makes no sense. Did he just walk in the Mishima Saibatsu office and say, "Hey, remember me? The founder of the company? Yeah, I'm not dead. Get me a latte and announce a tournament." Someone tell me, how does the tournament work? Why do they fight in multiple areas around the world? Do they need a visa? Does it even matter? Anyway, I believe it was safe to assume Jinpachi Mishima is a carrier of the devil gene because in his final boss stage he turns into a monster, and this is proof that he is a devil. But then it ends when Jin beats him and is now the leader of the Mishima Corporation. In a strange twist of fate, history repeats itself. Jin now becomes the bad guy, just like his father, Kazuya. Yeah, what's up with this company? Did Jinpachi put a curse on it? So that anyone who becomes the next CEO just automatically becomes a prat? At this point of the story, it feels like we're reaching a climax. The epic battle between father and son begins. Jin Kazama versus Kazuya Mishima. Whoa, wait. Who's this spiky-haired shonen protagonist? Lars Alexandersson. Yes, that's his name. Not Lars. It's spelt Lars, but it's actually a Swedish name pronounced Lars. So I'm calling him Lars. I don't know why the announcer says Lars. I don't know why, because that's not how you pronounce it. It's as if Harada just googled Swedish names and said, "Oh, I like that one. Let's name the character that," without knowing how to pronounce it. Looking at you, Bandai Namco developers and American voice actors. Lars is the illegitimate son of Heihachi and half-brother of Kazuya. He, by all intents and purposes, becomes the main character of Tekken 6. And for some reason, the whole Jin vs Kazuya plot that all the fans were excited about takes a back seat. And then we get this Egyptian devil thingy who happens to be the progenitor of the devil gene. Okay, they're making stuff up. I don't know. I feel they're just making stuff up now. It just feels weird. By this point, it is obvious they're making the story up as they go along. If they ain't, they're really not thinking too hard about it. Canonically, Heihachi comes back and is alive because fans demanded it. Also canonically, he is supposed to be in hiding and never competed in the tournaments of Tekken 5 and Tekken 6. He makes his way to the Mishima Saibatsu building and reclaims it at the start of Tekken 7's story. Fans really didn't like the story of Tekken 6, making Jin evil, adding a new quote Mishima unquote character, who to me just comes across as a Gary Sue who doesn't actually play like a Mishima. Sorry Lash fans. The next story of Tekken 7 had to be a big one. had to come with some sort of conclusion. And so we get the Mishima Saga ending. Mishima's finally ending, more like the ending of Heihachi. Yes, finally, Heihachi dies at the end of Tekken 7 as Kazuya finally kills him. It was epic, Shakespearean, and damn good. But it ain't the Mishima Saga ending. Not by a long shot. Thanks again to another retcon / Purple Lightning spammer in the works. But we'll get to her later. In the Tekken 7 story, we are introduced to Kazumi Mishima, the mother of Kazuya and the carrier of the devil gene. She's the one that gave Kazuya his devil powers. Sadly, as a boss, she is non-canon. Her story and devil transformation are only in flashback, and she only fights Heihachi. To me, Tekken 7 bridges the gap between Heihachi and Kazuya. It gives them weight and reason on why they hate each other. But I can't help but believe that if Kazumi was a ghostly phantom revenant demon thingy coming back from the grave, it would have been better. Imagine Kazumi coming to Kazuya in dreamlike visions and visiting him on the astral plane. Then, thanks to a demonic ritual, she is resurrected. Jin, now out of his coma. Let's talk about that. At the end of Tekken 6, Jin nearly kills himself and lands himself into a coma. So by the end of Tekken 7, he wakes up out of that coma. Canonically, Jin never entered the King of Iron Fist Tournament 7. He's only in the game because he's one of the main, most popular characters. And shouldn't he have a beard or stubble? Has the man been clean shaven during his coma all this time? But let's imagine this. He comes to defeat Kazumi, or maybe Lash beats Kazumi, or maybe Heihachi. Yeah. And then Heihachi fights Kazuya, but Kazuya with so much rage kills his father for what he did to his mother. Does that not sound more dramatic than a flashback battle? So we finally get to Tekken 8. What originally is a bit of a repeat of 6. We get Kazuya versus Jin, and then bang! Who's this Mishima looking girl? Rena? A mysterious girl who somehow learned Mishima fighting style by watching TikTok videos. But wait, she's more sinister than that. Oh, she's just another long lost child of Heihachi. You see where this is going? Well, I don't get the repetition. It just sounds like Tekken 6 to me. Just Lash is now Rena and Heihachi's now dead. You know, it just seems like it's repeating itself. And it kind of makes sense prolonging the Tekken story in terms of as a consumer product. The story of Tekken 8 wasn't bad. I really enjoyed it, but it could have been better. When Harada asked on Twitter, "What did you think of the story?" and many people said it was good. I agree, in terms of fighting game storylines, it's really good, but I also heard someone say it's the best story. No, it is not. I can tell you why. It's far from the best story. The main story focuses on Jin's redemption, and it's a good anime-style shonen-like storyline, but there's still many great characters that don't get their moment. Most of the characters in it are more like sparring partners for Jin as he goes up the tournament. Nina Williams on the war-torn battlefield fights Rena Mishima. Instead, she could have fought Steve Fox, her biological son. This would have created more tension to see son and mother fight. Two people, biologically related, yet completely different, fighting on opposing sides. When Lily decides to take Jin to his hometown of Yakushima so he can relearn his past, it makes sense of his cousin Asuka Kasama to come with. However, he spars with Xiaoyu, and that's not a bad thing. But I really think Asuka should have been the one to spar too. Asuka should have helped Jin relearn Kasama Ryu fighting style and help him remember his mother and upbringing. Why? Why was this not written in that way? Sadly, Asuka has been shafted ever since Tekken 6. When in her first appearance in Tekken 5, in her Tekken 5 ending, she exercised Jin's devil form, giving the impression she had strong spiritual power, even though she was oblivious to it. It would have made more sense if she was the hero and protagonist in Tekken 6, and that she would stop Jin and beat Azazel, the Egyptian devil thingy, alongside him. This is just my opinion, by the way. Feel free to disagree and tell me how you think the story would have been better. Now, Asuka is a shadow of herself. Ever since her rival, Lily, has come onto the scene, the two of them are just a comedy duo, and that's just sad. It was funny the first two endings, but even in Tekken 8, their relationship has moved to a snail pace. In fact, it's hardly changed whatsoever. Let's talk about the final battle between Kazuya and Jin. Jin almost loses and is struck down. Kazuya says to him, if he stands up and goes against him, he will kill him regardless of who he is. In this moment, Kazuya turns and walks away, giving Jin mercy. Then Jin stands up and defies him, carrying on the fight. This act of mercy that Kazuya shows was greatly done. If he truly did love Jun Kasama, he would show mercy to their own flesh and blood, their own son. Jin finally exorcises the demon blood within him and his father, breaks the chains and curse of his family, and we're given one of the most glorious endings to a fighting game saga. And then sadly, during the end credits we get Jun Kasama standing over Kazuya. A character greatly advertised, promoted, and back in the game as a fully fledged playable character. Her first canon appearance since Tekken 2. Wait, no, not yet. She's actually not canonically in the story. I'm sorry, but her standing there on the final shot doesn't add anything to the story of Tekken 8. It's like adding a character in the final chapter of a story on the last written sentence. This is just sequel bait to me. I honestly feel she's in the game because they created a character model, and if they created a character model within the story, it makes sense for them to use those assets and put her as a actual character in the game. It adds more to the next sequel, and if we get an extended story DLC, then perhaps it will really add some juice and flavour to the story and give us some closure on Jun's character. But I'm not waiting with bated breath for the next game's story. When I heard there was an alternative ending where Kazuya wins, I was ecstatic. What would happen, knowing that he has lost the devil powers, knowing he has beaten his son? What would he say in the final fight? What would he do? Would he be sad or happy? The fact of the matter is, Kazuya was abused and has a weird and warped mentality, constantly wanting power because deep down, he really is a weak child. The man never grew past the boy who was thrown off the cliff. In the alternative ending, he beats Jin, but instead of just winning the fight, he kills his son. He straight up throws him off a cliff, the same way his father did to him. This time, no deal with the devil will save Jin. I was shocked at this ending, not because of Jin's death, but because of Kazuya's bizarre and questionable actions. In Kazuya's character ending, he is shown praising Jun. He sees her as strong and fierce. He truly loves her, and if he really adored her, then surely the worst thing he can do to her is kill her own son. Killing the son you made with the woman you love, to me, has to be one of the most insulting yet spiteful things you can do to a person. This ending with Kazuya is not the one we see in his character arcade ending. To me, it's not a thought out ending. It's not even the same character. Most of Tekken's endings seem like an afterthought or a joke gag. Tekken's canonical endings have basically been the bad ending of the series. Tekken 2 being the evil father winning, Tekken 6 making Jin become the villain. If you want tension and war, then it makes sense for Namco to choose the endings that would give us such conclusions. The storyline of Tekken is a bit odd. Originally, the original producer Nakatani said in an interview he originally never wanted Kazuya to come back. It's only when Harada became the lead director did he put Kazuya back into Tekken 4 to make the fans happy. And so we have a story, we have Harada's vision. I'm not sure, but most fighting games and their stories is mostly an ensemble production. Devs pitch ideas, come up with characters and character endings. Tekken has a rich legacy to pick from, but from what I gathered, it seems Harada wanted Kazuya to come back and for Jin to turn evil, then redeem himself. Harada stated he had an idea for the finale to Tekken 8 ever since the 90s of Jin overcoming his family curse and beating his father. He said this would take years to get to. Now really, I'm not sure if that's true, I don't know. I mean, he and the producers set those goals. Jin could have ended it there and then in Tekken 4. Like I said, I feel like the progress of the story being prolonged is just a marketing tool, but I'll talk about that a bit later. The real nail in the coffin for me was the end credits scene where we see Rana Mishima claim who she is, the daughter of Heihachi. This comes out of nowhere, and there's no clue to her in the previous games. Although it's speculated who she is because of her fighting style and the way she acts. But like I said, there is no mention of her in the previous games. To me, they were just making it up. But they did create the character in Tekken 7 and put her on the back burner. So, Rana Mishima was originally conceived as an idea in Tekken 7. The shocking twist and reveal is that Rana turns into a devil. How? Now, if we originally thought the devil gene came from the Mishimas, then I could see the gene skipping Heihachi and going to her. But that's not the case. The carriers of the devil gene are the Hachijos. She, according to law, should not be able to have the devil powers. Fans have speculated she could be a genetic clone of Heihachi, and thanks to genetic engineering was able to get the devil gene. Or Heihachi managed to screw someone else who had devil powers to conceive a child. I don't know, it's weird. But ultimately, my dear viewers, this whole after credits sequence is pure and utter sequel bait. It's only there for you to buy the next game and find out what happens next in the story. It's a sequel hook. I'll be honest, I'm getting tired. I said Tekken 8 could be my last Tekken in terms of story. The ending was perfect. As a Jin main, I found it fantastic. I have no need to be invested in the story anymore. To me, it wrapped it up, only for Rana to come out of nowhere and tear it open. Like I said, to me the story's over, there's nothing more to say, and having Rana be the sequel hook that's all it is, it's just a sequel hook. Rana Mishima being the devil is a sequel hook, and if you look past on all the storylines in the main games, they prolong the story as a marketing tool to make you buy the next game to see what would happen. And for that, I don't think it's great storytelling. Tekken 8 could have been a better story. In fact, the whole Tekken story could have been better if they just focused on a more character ensemble and instead stopped giving us joking endings. Which, yeah, okay, it has fan service and there are jokes, but when you have Kazuya and Paul becoming joke characters now, and even Asuka being a complete joke, it's it's not even funny anymore. It's kind of sad to me. Yeah, I don't get it. Even Steve Fox, who started out as a serious character, now Steve Fox has become more comical. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the Tekken storyline. Like I said, I do enjoy it. I think it's fun. I liked the experience and all that, and I thought it was great. I loved the build-up to Jin Kazama's story and his legacy and how it ended. It was perfect. It was great. I just wish the other characters had a bit more thought to them in their construction. But yes, tell me what you think of the Tekken storyline. If you don't like my opinion, please like the video and just tell me exactly what you think. Like, it's okay, opinions, we all have them, and there's nothing wrong and nothing right about it, you know what I mean? But yeah, just tell me what you think. Did you enjoy the Tekken storyline? What was your favourite Tekken ending cutscene? What's your favourite Tekken storyline out of the games? And did you enjoy the Tekken 8 finale? And what did you think of Ren and Mishima? So yes, thank you for watching. If you are new to the channel, please go and look up my Tekken videos. I play a lot of Tekken. I enjoy it. And thank you for watching. And see you in the next video.